Greetings. I just wanted to share a few words about the draft that's due this week. Take a look at the requirements and the rubric very quickly, and then also just look ahead for what this draft is meant to be. It is meant to be your final creative project, and there's a slightly different standards or requirements from the draft to the final piece. But let's just look at first a couple of things. You can write fiction, and it should be a story 3 to 5 pages in length. It's basically a flash fiction piece, and I encourage you to go online. There's many sites with flash fiction and certainly fantasy flash that are good examples of how to create a story in a very short space. Nonfiction is basically the same kind of situation. Poetry, you write a minimum of three, no more than 5 poems. I can't say the length is a deciding factor, but I would say that if you were writing three haikus, 3 poems of 3 lines, they really would need to be very, very polished and nearly perfect to be able to reflect the kind of work that's expected for this assignment. And then the screenplay would be 5 to 7 pages, approximately 5 minutes. So let's take a real quick look at just what is being considered. And on the draft, there's really just either proficient, meaning you get it, it needs improvement, you're kind of on the road, or you don't touch, not evident. So when we talk about structure, we're talking about plot. If we're talking about fiction or screenplay, if we're talking about uh, kind of the flow, if we're talking about poetry. And when we talk about style and voice, we talked about that last week in a little depth, but certainly different genres such as fantasy or science fiction have a certain style, have a certain tone, and it is whether your voice in the writing adheres to the genre and also has consistency. And then certainly grammar. And then finally, we talk about writing techniques. We are talking such things as point of view, narrative structure, poetic structure, imagery, rhythm, that you understand different elements of writing in terms of creative writing. But when we jump over and we look at the final project, which will be a revision of your work, one thing it's important to note that it says authentic in completion and cohesion. Work doesn't feel it was cut from a greater anthology, or work establishes the arc of the story or message without stretching or unnecessarily cropping the idea. So I've had inquiries about whether it is okay to use a section of my novel, but unless it is self-contained, a scene that demonstrates an introduction, a rising action, a conflict, and a climax and resolution, then I would say it's not a good idea. It would be much better to create a new work, and that's what this course is all about. And also notice that the proficient grade, the proficient standard, which earned 100% in each area of the draft, now earns 85. So to have the same grade from the draft to the final, your game needs to rise a little bit. So, and it's basically the same criteria with a few additional requirements or expectations of levels to meet in order to achieve that level of grade. So I hope you're having fun with this. I encourage you to both be creative and to think about structure. Think about where you are in the story, in the poem. What are you expecting the audience, your reader, to take away? And it is that part that I think is most important. So it's been great class so far. I'm looking forward to reading your drafts. If you have any questions, please contact me, and have a great week. Take care.